Anything else? City attorney report?
The things I had on my list have just been covered on the Housing Authority and the SPLOST meeting, so I don't have anything else that I can think of unless there's a question from somebody.
All right, any questions for the city attorney? Any attorneys for the attorney? All right, hearing none, I'll move into the mayor's report. I wanted to start with a couple of pieces of mail I got. One from Reverend Bill and Vanessa Marshall to the city of Forsyth in response to their stay here during the Hurricane Dorian. Dear Mayor, my wife and I want to thank you, the City Council, and the people of Forsyth for such an awesome welcome to your city after we had to evacuate Florida for Hurricane Dorian. We stayed at the KOA Forsyth with our motorhome and enjoyed our time there and several of the local attractions and restaurants. We also are thankful for the gift bag that was given to us with goodies and discounts that we took advantage of. We love our great nation and so thankful for your open arms and welcome to us and our fellow Floridians. We look forward to returning to Forsyth and enjoying your great city. Please share our thanks to everyone. We stand by ready to serve and help if anyone in your city needs help. Reverend Bill Marshall, chaplain to the recreational vehicle community, Assembly of God, retired Navy Chief Master Chief. And then I had another letter from J. Warren Burke from Bluffton, South Carolina. And this was actually his second trip to escape a hurricane to Forsyth. And he said, Dear Mayor Wilson, his is handwritten, so I may have a little trouble. Dear Mayor Wilson, as an evacuee, my wife and I thank you for your personal greeting. I actually met them at one of the hotels when I was delivering the bags. And the welcome package. This was our second stay in Forsyth, and we are very pleased. We chose to stay in your city. Italian restaurant and grits, as well as Marco's, were excellent. Shopping places to eat and something. The Comfort Suites took care of our housing needs. Thank you sincerely for making your home ours while we needed a place to stay. Sincerely, J. Warren Burke. So I just wanted to share those with y'all, and I think it makes a difference, just the small gesture that we make as a city when folks are staying here and they end up, as evidence of this letter, he came back for a second trip to visit, and I think it's just a good thing to do. Second thing I wanted to talk about, many of you may, like me, have been perplexed when you opened your local newspaper last week. If you opened the local newspaper, there were 3 columns and 1 editorial geared towards our stance on solar, and in particular a situation regarding Castleberry Drugs across the street. I say I was perplexed. I found out late Tuesday afternoon, after apparently the articles were written along with Ms. Hall, that they were going to be in the paper the next day. And we found out because one of the reporters was sent over here to make pictures. He told Ms. Hall of downtown, is all he was told, and used her office to make pictures of Castleberry, which of course would have been fine if he would have told her the purpose. I mean, it's a public building and he would have been welcome to do that. But about 30 minutes after he left, we got an email from the publisher telling us he wanted to be up front and explain what they were doing. I would suggest that there was a lack of journalistic objectivity because we were never interviewed prior to any of those articles. There was a lack of journalistic curiosity because there was a lack of research done into the allegations, and a lack of integrity in that reporting. And I've expressed that to the reporter that wrote those articles in a phone conversation when she called me last Thursday to ask me for my side or our side or for an interview. In the fake news movement in this country, we see things get lobbed over the bow sometimes to get a response. And then the other side responds, and it keeps this thing going for 2 or 3 weeks and tries to substantiate some relevance in people wanting to read the newspaper, I guess. But it didn't allow us an opportunity to respond, I guess is what I want to say. And one of the key tenets of the article related to Castleberries, and I think was even used in the headline or a sub-headline, was that we had withdrawn a permit that we had issued. And I immediately called Ms. Hall, and we discovered that the city has never issued a permit to that person or that entity for this purpose. And as we all know, there is a distributed generation agreement is what's required to tie into the grid with solar. And when I talked to the reporter on Thursday, she said that, yes, she had seen the permit, and then she said, well, I've seen a receipt for $75 signed by someone with the last name of Parks. We don't have anybody, nor did we during that time period, have anyone working for the city with the last name of Parks. So that's why I suggest there was a lack of curiosity in researching this topic. What I would guess happened, and I don't know, so this is just a speculation, is maybe they got a building and electrical permit, which would have been issued by the county building department, whom we contract with to do building inspections in the city, and that would be to allow them to construct the solar, which is certainly permissible to get a permit to construct something. But then the question becomes, you need a distributed generation agreement to tie into our system. And that's something which we had a policy on, and it didn't relate specifically to their case, so we never said specifically we were turning them down. What really shocked me is I didn't even know that this was an issue. I've never heard from the person in the article, never spoken to them. They've never come before city council. And then I asked the reporter, I said, well, why did this pop up? How did they? And she admitted that she contacted them 3 years later for the story. So that's where the story came from. And then there was an inflammatory headline you may have seen related to our meeting, our work session meeting, which suggested that we had renewed our disfavorable policy towards solar. And the impetus for me calling that meeting was to see if we could get together and figure out how to come up with a distributed generation agreement for solar. And I think we all left there understanding that. So there was a clear disconnect in that. I would suggest that we as a council consider, in an effort to convey transparency, and we are transparent, we want to be open, that we either live stream our meetings and allow people to see it live without having to wait and read about it and maybe not get it accurately, either on our Facebook page or on our website, because some people may not have Facebook. But I throw that out to council as an option for us to have an unfiltered way of getting the information out. Now, we've been offered an opportunity to respond, and the publisher of the paper even offered an opportunity for me to write an unfiltered guest column. But my concern that is in so doing, you perpetuate the story, which just continues it for another 2 or 3 weeks and allows people to go to Facebook and comment on it and that kind of thing without and it takes a long time to answer allegations that were leveled at you in 3 different articles. But a real lack of objectivity when you don't even ask the other party for a comment. I've never seen a reputable news article that didn't say they at least tried to get a comment from the other side. They weren't available, or they didn't want to comment, or whatever, and I'm sure that'll be the comment this week because there's a follow-up piece. And I'm sure the comment will be that I don't have a comment. So I'm fine with that after the way we were treated in last week's articles. That's what I have to say about that. And I open it up for discussion. If y'all want to discuss I think we could pretty easily live stream it using Facebook Live or some other medium to do that. What are the thoughts of council about that proposal or about that in general?
Forsyth keeping that. They haven't been
I don't know. I don't know.
I called today to see, just to verify if someone was going to be here again tonight, because no one was here, and I thought it was last council meeting and the council meeting before.
Yeah.
But she said that, as far as she knew, that someone had missed last council meeting, that she got stuck in traffic coming, but someone was supposed to be here tonight. But then you know that several meetings, they've left early. About the time that we get through with the regular, part of the meeting, then they say that they're out of tape, is what they've said several times.
On top of that, sometimes you can barely hear what anybody's saying anyway.
Most times.
Yeah.
You can't.
I'll be modest.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it right?
But we
You
tried,
listen to it a time or two.
we tried on YouTube. How did that work? Like, we
That-
didn't hardly have any viewers, like one or two.
Yeah, and that worked better when we were at City Hall Annex, because you could hear a little better. With us, the camera and the microphone were on the laptop that was in the back of this room, and you could not hear. You could fairly well see and make everybody out, but you could not hear it at all. We've actually had to go back and try to listen to some of the meetings to get some information, and you cannot hear what was on. So that's why we quit doing that, because you could not hear.
I think if you live stream it, more people might be interested in it. Then it's archived, so they can go back and watch it later if they didn't catch it while it was live. But
I think that's a good idea.
Well,
Right.
as you and I discussed this morning, and I'm saying it for everybody else, we talked this morning, he asked me my thoughts on it. I said, well, I think it'd be okay if you officially did it on the city or Forsyth Facebook page, and then if any individual council member wanted to share it to their page, you have that option if you want to do that. But at least it's officially on the city of Forsyth Facebook page.
Yeah, make it public and you can share, I agree.
yeah. All right. So if y'all are all in agreement, then Ms. Hall can work on.
Motion, Bob?
I don't see why. I mean,
It formalizes it.
well, I guess.
If you want to stop, you'd have to go through a formalization of an abandonment of it. So
I'd like to make a motion that we start live streaming our city council meetings on Facebook.
All right. We have a motion by Councilman Stroud, seconded by Councilman Hewitt. And is there any discussion or question?
How are we gonna, who's gonna do it?
We're gonna have to figure that one out.
Right, who's gonna do it?
We haven't got there yet.
And we talked about the audio being a problem before, it's still gonna be a problem unless we address that.
Maybe we could get,
That's what we gotta work on.
Yeah, I'm fine with purchasing something to make the audio clearer, because people deserve to hear what we have to say.
maybe we could get microphones, to
place them around.
That we have
place them
before.
around like we have before, yeah, that would do that. And I know that Ms. Glidewell in our conversation reported that she was having trouble hearing sometimes, and I offered too that if she ever wanted to review the tape of the meeting, that would be a good resource to get accurately what we're saying. And we'll have public comments in just a minute.
I just want to just try to help you, my problem.
Yes, sir. All right, any other discussion amongst the council?
Well, I agree with you, Eric, and Mayor, that I had two people call me about the article, and I read the paper, and I was a little perplexed myself, because I thought we just had the work session to talk about electrical options and working on a rate and seeing what we could do, and then what I read in the paper was that we said, no, we were just cutting off electric pipe,
Just the opposite of what we were trying
Right,
to do.
I was a little bit confused, but in the two people that called me, I told both of them that, hey, I didn't know anything about that, other than we did have a work session that we discussed it, and that the rate study people were working on some things, gonna bring it back. We were open to solar. That solar is, it's only gonna get more and more popular, and a lot of things have got to change for it to be affordable for everybody. But if you want to spend $50,000 and put solar on top of your house and wait 100 years to get the return, that's your decision, and that's where it is today. And that's sort of what I took away from the meeting. But yeah, I was a little perplexed about it too. based on what our work session was.
Indeed. Any other comments or questions for me? Hearing none, we will move into public comments, and at this time, anyone in the public wishing to come forward may do so. Please identify yourself by name and address, and you may have 4 minutes to address any topic.
I appreciate your efforts for transparency, and I am a member of the Georgia First Amendment Foundation. And each year, every 2 years, they update the open records law. I have given each one of you the new edition that has come out on the open records law.
Thank you, sir.
I think they're all autographed there. You might want to check them.
Thank you.
Okay. But this is a very handy records guide. Yeah, I know that you have a fantastic lawyer, but sometimes you need to ask yourself some questions. And Janice, here's one especially for you, and I've got one also for the Chief of Police on law enforcement, open records. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel.
Thank you.